December was the last time we saw SEC volleyball, but the wait is gonna be worth it, I promise. We have the number 3 team in the nation, the defending SEC co-champion Kentucky, welcoming in their border rival Tennessee. Courtney Lau alongside 3-time All-SEC setter Missy Whittemore. We are set for this one and so excited. The SEC kicking off tonight, and it's going to be a shortened season, only 8 matches, playing only 4 opponents, but we're so excited just to have this chance to play in the fall.
I tell you, Courtney, these teams have been in some sort of preseason dating all the way back to August 6th. Finally tonight, they'll get to see how they stack up against a real live opponent, and it's going to be a conference opponent right out of the gate. This is a season unlike any other.
Well, for Kentucky, they had 3 All-Americans last year. 2 of them are back. Let's start with Allie Stumbler.
I have highly anticipated laying eyes on this Kentucky team, and Allie Stumbler is one of the big reasons why. She has actually increased her jump reach from 10-1 to 10-3. Since arriving in Lexington, she just gets better and better. She is their returning leader in kills production from a season ago, and of course the engine behind that production is their setter, Madison Lilly, who literally sets it all in motion.
She's so impressive. Those 2 All-Americans will be joined by the very first #1 recruiting class at Kentucky. Watch out for Maddie Skinner wearing number 2 tonight. She's going to be impressive, we're told. Well, for Tennessee, a lot of new faces, but they're relying on this core junior class led by Lily Feltz, who has pretty much played 6 rotations her entire career.
Yeah, actually, much like Stumbler from Kentucky, she played in every set of every match a season ago. And again, she will have a lot on her plate. They will ask her to swing out of the front row and the back row. And for the Vols, she's really going to need to be a stabilizer for a team that's going to have a lot of moving parts tonight.
We want to make sure we play safely, so here are the protocols for Memorial Coliseum. The max number of player guests is 240. We will not switch sides, and everyone in the bench areas for both teams is required to wear a mask. This is all to make sure that we can play and we can do it safely. We have been waiting so long to see the SEC come back to volleyball, and finally it is here. The defending SEC co-champs get us started here in Lexington.
And why not Allie Stumbler, their best server from a year ago?
Tennessee will go to the outside. Danielle Muhafi, we were wondering how much we were going to see her. She's been dealing with an injury this week, but so glad to see Tennessee's leading return kills get her.
Yeah, just at 2.28 kills per set a season ago. She leads them in terms of their returners. Of course, they're minus Tessa Grubbs, who graduated.
Tennessee goes into the middle. And then Allie Stumbler attacking out of the back row for Kentucky.
That was a Johnny Teeler going to the floor there out of right back. And yes, you may have noticed that that was a Johnny Teeler before she rotated back to serve in middle front for Kentucky. A big change for them from a season ago.
You're going to see a lot of players on both sides of the net moving around positions this year for both Tennessee and Kentucky. Avery Skinner with the swing. And Kendall Paris is there for a little defense at the net.
Yeah, no sooner do I get that change out of my mouth for Kentucky that you may notice a change for Tennessee as well, and that's Rocky Perinar in middle front for the Vols right now. So 2 players who we saw on the pins a season ago have made major adjustments as they open the season this year in the middle.
Overpass coming, and Avery Skinner was all over it. This is a player who has really stepped her game up for the Wildcats.
Yeah, we saw big things out of Avery Skinner early in her career. Last year, she played in 26 sets. And Coach Skinner, no relation, by the way, said she has made a huge jump in her game. So excited about what she can do as a senior this year.
Avery Skinner attacking again, and another point for Kentucky.
Nice high swing by Avery Skinner as she just goes after those blockers' hands.
And a service error for the Cats gives Tennessee a point.
Madison Lilly takes a little something off of that one, tried to drop it in the middle of the court. Coach Rackham of Tennessee described Kentucky as the best serving team from top to bottom in the league last season, and they said we are going to have to match them from the service line.
And this Kentucky team did a lot of good things last year in the SEC season. As you see Kendall Paris take the swing there, and Tennessee is going to get a block.
And that's Morgan Fingal now in right front for Tennessee, who is over to help. And she's alongside Rocky Perinar, who, as we said, is making her debut in the middle for the Vols.
Madison Lilly will send it out wide. And that's going to be a double called on Tennessee. Well, a name that we have called forever for Kentucky is Leah Edmond, and she is no longer on the Kentucky Wildcats roster. She graduated, the first four-time All-American in Kentucky history. That's a huge hole to fill, and it's not going to be one player who will make up for her.
Absolutely not.
Lilly goes to the outside, and Allie Stumler is definitely one of those players who's going to help out.
Yeah, if anyone can fill the void, it's Allie Stumler. Even Coach Skinner said she never ceases to amaze. He said she is such a hard worker. Now as a junior, they'll actually look to her as more of a leader on this team as well, not just from her play, but in terms of a leadership role. She's a captain on this team.
Morgan Fingal takes the swing for Tennessee, but it's long. Tennessee will be in that 6-2 offense. They're using Kaylee Keeble, who's out there setting right now, #1 in the orange jersey. And the transfer, Natalie Hayward, is the other setter. She came in from DePaul. Feltz takes that pass. Keeble sends it wide, but the timing a little bit off. Keeble back to the left, and the freshman, Jasmine Brooks.
This is a player that Tennessee is very excited about. She has a bright future, and you can see why. They said she is first in line to replace Tessa Grubbs in terms of the type of production that they're used to having from a left side pin. But you see Coach Rackham talking to her setter there. In that initial side-out offense, they had all three hitters stacked in left front. Huge miscommunication. They have to send a free ball over. They're lucky to win that rally.
Avery Skinner lays out for it. Lilly goes back behind her to Rutherford.
And we get a look at one of those recruits from that #1 recruiting class, and it's Rutherford, who is the 6-foot freshman out of Missouri City, Texas. That big left hand on the right side. She has a really unique skill set.
Keeble gets underneath it for Lily Feltz, and it goes out, but there was a touch on the ball. Point Tennessee.
And there she is, the do everything outside for the Lady Vols. You'll see her, like Allie Stumler, all over the court, passing in every rotation. There'll be an outlet out of the backcourt as they provide back row offense as well.
This Tennessee team finished tied for 7th in the SEC last season. That's where they were picked to finish this season in the preseason coaches poll. Morgan Fingal with the swing, but the Kentucky block is bigger.
Take another look at this block that Kentucky's able to put up. That's Allie Stummer, and look at the lateral movement of #15 there, Johnny Teeler, playing on the right side primarily, along with Caitlin Cooper last year for the Wildcats. She's made the move to the middle. She is only 5'10", folks. That's a really small middle blocker, but you can see how well she gets off the floor. And Coach said, pound for pound, she might be the best athlete in our gym.
Here comes Allie Stumler, and Madison Lilly goes up for the attack and the kill. How about that for your setter, Missy?
I'll tell you what, Courtney, you and I were just talking during pre-match about how during hitting lines, when Madison Lilly is not setting, she gets in line and takes some swings at the ball. This girl likes to take a rip, and when she gets her chance, she's well prepared.
She was a second-team All-American last year, a preseason All-SEC selection this year. And Eve Rackham has pulled out that green challenge card. So this is the first challenge for either team. Each team gets 3 challenges in the match unless we go to a 5th set, and then they'll get an additional challenge. No matter if you win or lose the challenge, you still lose that number on your challenge count. So remember, the original call on this was that the swing was in.
And of course, included in that initial challenge of in is in-out touch, Courtney. So the officials will be able to take a look at all of those things as they go back through that rally.
Okay. So these are the reviewable plays you were talking about, Missy, and we're looking right now at that first dot, ball in, out, contacting a player or a net fault by a player. So that's kind of what we're looking for right now. The original call was that the point went to Kentucky, so it's got to be indisputable evidence to overturn this.
And that net fault can come into play on the follow-through of a big swing if your wrist or hand goes into the net. So they always take a look at that, as well as the in-out and touch off the block, all within that one challenge, Courtney. So obviously with this one, you run it back to that swing from Morgan Fingal there.
All right, so the point's going to stay with Kentucky. Tennessee wanted a touch on that swing from Lily Feltz, but they won't get it.
Yeah, Lily Feltz is one of those outside hitters with all the tools. Look for her to use hands throughout the night.
And Tennessee is going to call a timeout here. So Kentucky out to an early lead here in set number 1. First time this season we're getting to see SEC volleyball. Feels pretty good to be back here in Tennessee. Cats out to the early lead, 11-6 here in the opening set. Courtney Lyle, Missy Whittemore with you. We're playing to 25, and you have to win by 2. Avery Skinner will bump set Allie Stumler. And here comes Lily Feltz. And Kentucky going to the backside. And Ajani Teeler takes the swing and gets that kill.
And you see her speed working to her advantage here as she's able to get behind. She doesn't even go off 1 foot, notice. She swings off 2 feet. She releases to the backside, swings off 2 feet. So it'd be interesting to watch her make this transition to middle blocker.
It's going to be a point for Kentucky as Kaylee Keeble, remember, is in the back row. Tennessee running that 6-2.
Pass a little too tight. Not a lot she can do with that one.
You know, Missy, we've talked about how there's so many different players in this match on both sides playing new positions, but the good thing about that is they had an extra long preseason to get a ton of reps in the gym.
Yeah, Coach Rackham said in some ways we lost time and in some ways we gained time. The amount of preseason training that they were able to do. Now, the inconsistency and the not knowing what each day was going to bring was a little frustrating, but they did have a longer period of time to train.
Kentucky called in the net there, a point for Tennessee. So the Lady Vols will make their substitutions in this 6-2 offense. So Natalie Hayward, there she is. She's the transfer setter from DePaul and has just established herself as a leader. She's already a captain, been voted by her teammates a captain for Tennessee.
Yeah, and that's after just arriving in January and then everything shutting down for quarantine. So it tells you how quickly she was really able to establish herself with her teammates.
She has all the intangibles, Eve Rackham told us. Everything you want in a leader and a teammate, she brings it to this Tennessee program. Tough pass, really tight at the net. Basically a free ball here for the Cats, and they go to Avery Skinner, who gets it done.
And this is a two-hitter rotation with Avery Skinner on the floor, who saw very limited time last year, and Ajani Taylor in the middle, who has never played middle before for Kentucky. So two players who we didn't really see much of last year now carrying the load in that two-hitter rotation. It says a lot about the confidence Coach Skinner has in them.
Tennessee has called timeout here. Kentucky up 15-7 early on in this opening set. And you kind of knew Kentucky was going to come in blazing. I mean, they finished off the season the co-SEC champs. This is the third straight year that Kentucky and Craig Skinner have won either the SEC or a share of the SEC. It's really impressive.
And picked to win their fourth straight this year, as voted on by the league's coaches. So big things expected for this group once again.
So they made it all the way to the regional semifinals, ended up dropping to Washington. And of course, they had Leah Edmond, who was that SEC Player of the Year. But I think the biggest thing is what we talked about in the Open, Missy, is that they have 2 of their 3 All-Americans coming back to this roster. That really sets the tone for the Cats.
Yeah, they certainly do. And of course, one of those being their setter. And she is really the engine behind this offense. She is such a great ball distributor. She sees the game so well. She spreads the offense, but she has a real keen understanding of the hot hand, having played with Leah Edmond and some fiery players at Kentucky over the years. She kind of knows when to feed the beast, and yet she knows how to keep the offense spread enough to keep the defense on their heels. She is just a phenomenal setter. She was a preseason All-SEC selection. 9 preseason All-SEC selections, 2 of them, Courtney, setters. Pretty impressive.
I bet you really like that, Missy, as a former All-SEC setter.
Only 9. To see 2 of them with that S next to their name. Props to those girls. Really speaks highly of their game, though. The other one, of course, coming from Texas A&M, and that's Camille Connor.
Yeah,
yes.
She's great. Kentucky has scored 3 straight points. Danielle Mahaffey goes with the tip and gets Tennessee over there as there's a double contact called on Kentucky.
Great little changeup coming out of the timeout for Mahaffey. You know, sometimes it doesn't have to be the big thump. You just have to make the smart play. See the defense, see the hole. It's exactly what Mahaffey does there.
Lily Feltz will try to get Tennessee back on track here, down early in this opening set. Ajani Taylor takes a big swing from the right side. Roll shot from Skinner. Out of the back row comes Feltz.
Taylor continuing to attack off 2 feet behind. And it will be Mahaffey again, who uses the hand of the blocker. But interesting, they're in serve-receive with Ajani Taylor playing in the middle for Kentucky now. Here's a look at the Mahaffey swing off the left hand of Avery Skinner. Really elite swing there from Mahaffey to find the floor. But as you see here, Kentucky not running a quick set out of serve receive. This is really interesting. With Ajani Taylor, their middle blocker now, she played on the right side for them some a year ago. They're just splitting the defense. So they're just going from pin to pin there and trying to force that middle blocker to have to chase. But they don't have a quick attack out of the middle in serve receive there, or they're choosing not to in that particular serve receive pattern.
Service error from Ajani Taylor. Madison Coulter, the libero for Tennessee, steps back to serve. A Knoxville native, technically from Maryville, Tennessee. Lily sets up Avery Skinner.
And that is the huge arm of Avery Skinner. It's matched by her huge jump. Coach said she hits the ball harder than anyone in our gym. And here is a look at it, folks. That ball gets to the floor in a hurry.
Coulter steps in at the last minute to bump set Jasmine Brooks. Hayward goes behind her to Mahaffey. And the Tennessee block is going to come through. Rocky Perinar and Jasmine Brooks working together.
And we've talked about the transition of Ajani Teeler to the middle. How about Rocky Perinar, who's never played middle in her career? And Coach said the reason they decided to give her a try there is because she's always been a good blocker. And you see it right there, her ability to seal the net, make good decisions. I think that they will gradually work her into the offense, but I think what they're asking her to do right now is be a defender, block balls.
Fingal steps inside the court. Great layout from Allie Stumler. That was Rutherford swinging on the left pin in this rotation.
Exactly, Courtney. I think they got stuck there. They weren't able to make their switch in their serve-receive pattern, and so that's a really hard ball for the freshman Rutherford to hit over her shoulder with her left hand, and Allie Stumler just didn't have another choice there as she hung that one up.
Much more comfortable over there on the right.
There's a really, really nice look for Rutherford. She touches 10-7 according to Kentucky, and a very rare skill set in that she also has the ability to set and would like to set at some point in her career at Kentucky. And Coach Skinner says they'd be more than happy to give her that opportunity, whether it's this year or not. We'll have to wait and see.
We've seen that before in the SEC. Holly Carlton does a little bit of that. She came in as an attacker and a setter to Florida after transferring from North Carolina.
That's exactly right. Having a pair of hands up there in right front can come in handy.
Avery Skinner's serve is a little bit long.
Coach Skinner spoke so highly of Avery Skinner and the way she's passing the ball for them. What a nice job that she has done in serve receive. And they will ask her to pass a big portion of the court for them. Of course, Gabby Curry, their preseason All-SEC libero, has always really anchored their serve receive.
Good swing by Rocky Perinar. Good awareness of what was going on the other side of the net.
Yeah, I like how aggressive she was. Goes up and takes a big rip at it. Don't give Kentucky another chance on that one.
Madison Bryant on the serve for the Lady Vols. In the middle, they go to Kendall Paris. Good connection between Lily and Paris.
Yeah, Kendall Paris, who played opposite Leah Meyer last year, their second middle blocker who graduated from Kentucky, played in the M2 a season ago, and she remains there. So not as comfortable off one foot or not as comfortable behind, so they've chosen to keep her in the M2.
Allie Stumler with two blockers right on her. That's one of the things that makes her an elite attacker.
Yeah. And, you know, you wonder how she would respond this year. It's the first time she's taken the floor where she's not playing opposite Leah Edmond. And, you know, she's always been such a fantastic player for Kentucky, but sometimes it's easy to get it done when you don't have to be the one. This year, there's going to be times where she has to be the one. And I have a feeling that Allie Stumler won't shy away from that one bit.
Yeah, Craig Skinner was so complimentary of her. I mean, we already knew how good her game was, and he told us this week that she's worked even harder and improved even more when we thought, you know, wow, her game is right up there at the top. Oh, really close call on that serve, but it will be out. Remember, we're going to 25, and you have to win by 2.
And Tennessee just being aggressive at the service line. And that's what they said coming into this one. We have got to match Kentucky's intensity from the service line. So I expect to see a few errors because they know they have to keep pressure on these Kentucky passers to try to have any chance to get them out of system.
That's been a focus since Eve Rackham took over this program, has been to be a tough serving team.
Yeah, she actually said, Courtney, it's been 2.5 years in the making. She said it's definitely something we've put a lot of effort into. And she hopes that this year maybe they'll turn the corner.
Was an assistant coach at North Carolina, her alma mater, for 9 seasons before taking the head job at Tennessee in her 3rd year now. Allie Stumler with a big attack. Tennessee's able to handle it. It's a free ball coming to Kentucky. Madison Lilly goes behind her to Teeler. Take 2 for Teeler, set point Cats.
And interestingly, Teeler continues to run almost every offensive play from behind the setter off 2 feet. So she's basically blocking out of the middle of the court, and then they're running an offense from pin to pin with a left side and a right side attacker. We're not seeing a quick middle attack. Really interesting.
Morgan Fingal on the tip. Great pancake from Madison Lilly. Keeble dumps it over. Lily Feltz is blocked. Just huge. Dejani Teeler. Set 1 going to Kentucky.
And you see here Madison Lilly, big celebration as she turns. And
not a bad way to get ready for the season. The Cats picked to finish first again by the SEC coaches.
Yeah, exactly. You see them there receiving 11 of those first place votes. I don't think that surprises anyone. I don't know if I've ever seen a roster graduate someone the likes of Leah Edmonds and still look so solid from top to bottom, Courtney.
Yeah, well, it helps that Craig Skinner and his staff have brought in the #1 recruiting class in the nation, so that really bolsters it.
And I think also the fact that Coach Skinner is such a creative coach. I really am just been so interested to watch the way they're using their talent on the floor this evening as we continue to talk about Dejani Teeler blocking out of the middle, and yet they're running her from the right pin primarily. And he's just a coach who I think has that mentality of how do I get the most out of these players? And he even talked to us about you don't have to squeeze everybody into the same box. And I really appreciate that about him, about the fact that he looks at the talent he has in his gym and he's always looking at how do I get the most out of this group? And that might not look the same from year to year. And so a Kentucky team minus Leah Edmond might look a little different. How do you make up for that point production that you're losing?
And it might take a couple of matches to get that flow going that both of these teams, and Tennessee included, wants to have. Remember, there's no preseason for these teams to get ready to test out different lineups, to test out different systems. It is just 8 matches in SEC play, only 4 opponents. So you've got to adjust quickly.
And both of these coaches will tell you they typically use their pre-conference season to figure out some of those things against non-conference opponents, and no one has that luxury right now in the SEC. It is immediate conference competition.
Tennessee will serve first as Kentucky won the opening set. Madison Lilly goes outside to Allie Stumler. Free ball coming to the Wildcats. Out of the back row flies Skinner. Tip from Stumler, and Natalie Hayward tried to cover it, but sent it out of play.
Great change of pace there from Stumler after the big rip. Just comes back with the off speed. Love her ability to change up her game, to use the entire court. She just sees the court so well.
Good pass from Coulter, and they're able to run the middle with Ava Bell, who is back and healthy after several injuries.
Yeah, they really missed her a season ago. She played in only 13 matches, and she brings a whole lot of offensive production to this team. She has a great fast arm. That was a really good look at it right there. I think she was actually leading the league in hitting efficiency early in the season last year when she went down, so they expect big things from her.
Avery Skinner with another kill. She has 6 kills right now for Kentucky and no attacking errors.
That's a good night.
Yeah, hitting 600.
Senior. Yeah, that's senior kind of play. Exactly what you would want from Avery Skinner.
Service error for the 4th time tonight for Kentucky. Tennessee makes its substitutions, and that's 6-2. So here's Kaylee Keeble, the other setter for the Lady Vols. Keeble pushes it out to the freshman, Jasmine Brooks. Still getting used to that SEC block.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? At 6'1", she's got great leaping ability, and you can see the athleticism, but as you said, Courtney, adjusting to an SEC block may take a little time.
Eve Rackham is really high on Jasmine Brooks. She's the number 43 recruit in the class. That's the highest recruit to Tennessee since 2013. And Rocky Perinar finding a way to score some points in the middle.
And I tell you, they made the transition of Rocky Perinar to the middle a little late. And so they said, we just don't have time to really teach her the quick set. You know, there's just not enough hours in the day at this point. And so they said, we will probably run a little higher set down the middle. It'll look a little different, something new to us. But that was a really nice transition by Rocky there in a way that she can definitely score points for them.
Tennessee called in the net. Point for Kentucky. Gabby Curry will send up a bump set to Allie Stumler. Keeble calls on Feltz. Stumler again tooling the block with authority.
Mahaffey right where she needs to be, but Allie Stumler with an even better swing. And that's just an elite level swing of being really aware of the block. And you see how she wipes it off those hands. And you could even see Mahaffey making an effort to turn that right hand back in bounds, but such an elite swing out of Allie Stumler.
In the middle goes Rocky Perinar.
Really nice swing by Rocky. And so it's a different look for Tennessee, but guess what? It's a different look for opponents as well. And it may take them a set to catch up with the timing of this higher attack down the middle. Realize they're not only trying to replace Alyssa Andrino, but Addison Rowe has opted out for the season. So we're going to 2 new middles for Tennessee in this match going to work.
Yeah, that's a huge loss there for Tennessee. I mean, Eve Rackham told us they had talked about it. They wanted to make sure that Addie Rowe did whatever she felt most comfortable with, and she did not feel like playing was that thing. She opted out of the season, and that's had the full support of the coaching staff to do that, but it does leave a hole for Tennessee in the middle, so that's why you see some of the personnel changes.
Absolutely. Eve Rackham said, obviously we want what's best for each player, but it is really, really hard. Those decisions are hard.
Here comes Fingal on the left side. Third kill for Morgan Fingal.
Excuse me, Courtney, you mentioned earlier Tennessee being in the 6-2, and that is because they're trying to find ways to score more offense. And right here is one of the ways that they think they can do it. That's with Fingal being set by Kaylee Keeble, because they didn't know if those two would be on the court if they ran a 5-1. And they said the improvement of those two individuals, even just over the last 2 weeks, convinced them that the 6-2 was best for the Lady Vols right now in hopes of finding more offense.
There goes Reagan Rutherford, and you can see the hops that this freshman has out of Missouri City, Texas.
When the connection is true, look at this ability to go up just over the block. That's a ball that you're probably not even going to touch. And so you're going to have to play defense behind that. That is an elite level swing. And remember, folks, that's a freshman.
Lauren Tharp is long on the serve. 5 service errors already for Kentucky.
Tharp, a huge part of this Kentucky defense, though. She played in all 114 sets a season ago. She is a staple for the Wildcats.
There's going to be an ace for Lily Feltz. She was so good at that last year, a career high 24 aces for Feltz.
What she's asked to do for the Volunteers so similar to what Allie Stumler does for Kentucky, and that they're those 6 rotation players who pass so many balls. They're both excellent servers for their teams, and they just wear a whole lot of hats.
Danielle Mahaffey goes up, and the Kentucky block wins out again.
That time a ball coming from the back row is set too tight to Mahaffey. And she's really at a disadvantage there as that Kentucky block is just all over that, smothers it as really they should.
4 team blocks for Kentucky, 2 for Tennessee. Hayward trying to hustle and get there.
Great hustle on the part of Hayward for a ball that looked nearly impossible to play. You have to like the fight that we're seeing from these Tennessee Volunteers.
in the middle to Ava Bell. They thought it was going to be called out, but the R1 overturned it.
May have been called out initially by the lines judge, but the up official did overrule that, and you can see clearly that ball was in bounds. A really nice swing by Ava Bell, and I think more balls to Ava Bell is really the answer, I think, for the Volunteers. What that means, though, is they have to have great ball control and stay in system so they can really run their middles.
Man, Avery Skinner just tacked on another kill. Kentucky's outside hitters have no attacking errors.
Wow. That's Allie Stumler, Avery Skinner, and look at the tempo of that set from their All-American Madison Lilly. Such great speed on that set to the antenna, allows those outside hitters to beat the block, and she sets it perfectly into position where they can swing line.
How nice is it to have a veteran setter, man.
It's really hard to replace the likes of Leah Edmond, but if you have to do it in a year where you have your setter, a 3-year starter returning, and your libero, a 3-year starter returning. Those are great stabilizers on the court. Any coach will tell you that if you're going to have, some ugly matches early, at least have your libero and your setter in there to help keep the chaos at bay.
Yeah, absolutely. Rocky Perinar gets the kill in the middle again for Tennessee. We've called her name already several times tonight. She's just one of those players that steps up no matter where Tennessee needs her.
Yeah, can you imagine being in college and saying, okay, for the first time in your career, we're going to ask you to play middle. And Eve Rackham said she is such a great team player. Her response is always just whatever I can do to help the team. Gotta
4 kills and no errors.
That'll help the team.
Allie Stumler out of the back row, but long. That is the first attacking error for either of Kentucky's outsides.
And notice, Courtney, number 11 in white on the floor now for Kentucky is Elise Getzinger. So they've now inserted another one of their number 1 recruiting class freshmen into this lineup.
Here comes Fingal. It's out, point for Kentucky. Even with that miss, Tennessee has upped its hitting percentage in this set. They're hitting .308 right now. Keeble gives it up to Jasmine Brooks, swinging on the right side. Tips over the UK block. Stumler off hands. Lilly chases after it, and Reagan Rutherford tries to get a swing off.
And that's Perinar, who has made that again, that transition to the middle. And that's a big swing by her to win a long rally and steal that one from Kentucky. I like the choice there by Madison Lilly. We just saw an error moments ago from Rutherford, the freshman. Lilly goes right back to her. Don't give her too much time to think about that one. You got to wash that one, roll it under the net, move on to the next play. And so this time they give Rutherford a look at the left antenna. She's typically swinging from the right side from them, but in serve receive, you see she has the ability to swing from both sides. Curry flying in to make the save.
Comes Lilly back to Stumler, who goes with the off-speed look. Lilly Feltz with the set. And now she'll attack. And gets the kill. What can Lilly Feltz not do?
This is such a smart swing from the 5'11" junior Lilly Feltz. Not the biggest pin player you're going to see in the league by any means. And yet, what a smart swing as she just chops it off those hands up there at the net.
3 kills for Feltz tonight. And quick, Madison Lilly goes to Elise Getzinger, the freshman. Kentucky again, the first to 15 points, looking to take a 2-set lead in this match over to Tennessee tonight. That starts at noon Eastern, and then Ole Miss squares off against Arkansas in Fayetteville. Both games are also streaming live on the ESPN app. Wildcats on top here in the second set. Courtney Lyle, Missy Whittemore with you. We're playing to 25 points. You have to win by 2. I feel like Tennessee has settled down a little bit. We saw Kentucky really hit the gas in that opening set.
And interestingly, Getzinger was just on the floor for Kentucky, and they made a quick sub there, putting Ajani Teeler back in.
Teeler in the middle. This is Reagan Rutherford from the right side. Hayward will call on Fingal, but that set was super tight to the net. Point for Kentucky.
And that's been somewhat of an issue, is that right side set for Tennessee. And a lot of those have actually been out of system situations where they're trying to get the ball to the right side from the back court, and that's given them some issues. They got to give those right sides some room to swing, because I think there's points to be taken from Tennessee on the right side. Kentucky just has so many different looks right now, Courtney. I mean, what a big difference to have Ajani Teeler on the floor and her speed from side to side versus what Elise Getzinger can do for them offensively. They have so many options.
Timeout taken here by Tennessee as Kentucky leads at 17-12 here in the second set. And Kentucky's outside hitters have been phenomenal so far. Only one attacking error between them. Avery Skinner doesn't have any.
Avery Skinner certainly looking like the senior. And Coach told us coming into this one that she has taken ball control to a whole nother level. And we're seeing that in every area of her game. Allie Stumler as well, looking like the upperclassman that she now is. Hard to believe that she's finally a junior. I'm gonna tell you what, she gets it better and better as time goes on. She just has a complete game.
Skinner with 8 kills, Allie Stumler with 5 kills, and those are pretty solid percentages, especially that 533 for an outside hitter. That's a huge number.
Yeah, those are big time numbers. Those are big time for middle blockers, but Avery Skinner at 533 from the left pin, that's uncommon.
For Tennessee, we've seen some really positive signs for this team, especially about what can come this season. Rocky Perinar, I definitely think, is one of those bright spots that we've seen. She's leading Tennessee right now with 4 kills, and she's playing for the first time in the middle.
Yeah, I love the way she's playing, so fearless. Not afraid to take a big rip right down the middle. We've already seen her with some really big-time touches on the blocks, and that's the key piece there. Can she just touch balls? Can she slow them down? Can she give that defense behind her a chance? That's what they're looking for as they try to put the pieces together. I feel like Tennessee is certainly a puzzle this year. They've got the pieces. The question is, how will they put those together over the course of the season?
And it's a short season. Remember, only 8 matches, and they're playing double headers, so only 4 different opponents this fall. We will see these teams compete in the spring. Good swing from Morgan Fingal. Reagan Rutherford.
There she is again, and as a freshman, you wondered, would it take her some time to settle in? I don't think so. She is looking awfully comfortable on the big stage. That time, you see, using those blockers' hands as she swings down the line, already showing off the shots she has.
Ava Bell goes in the middle, keeping the bright spot of the middle attackers for Tennessee going.
Great job of splitting the block there, and they set their middle blocker quick but away, and so she's able to attack right between the outside and middle blocker, and it's a really good look for Tennessee.
There's a little bit of moisture on Kentucky's side of the court, so they're wiping that up with some towels. And we're set to go with Natalie Hayward for Tennessee. Teeler in the middle.
And in that particular rotation, Rutherford is behind. We've seen a lot of Teeler from behind, but that time Teeler down the middle. So Kentucky has so many wrinkles to this offense, and you wonder if they're playing all their cards right now.
For Craig Skinner, never. We're never going to know everything he has going in his creative mind.
Absolutely not.
Really able to get a nice set off to Allie Stumler, and she just makes it look way too easy.
She certainly does. And, you know, going back to your comment about the creative mind of the coaches, as we take another look at this Allie Stumler swing, what a beautiful setting choice by Madison Lilly, as she just absolutely creates a one-on-one opportunity. But realize, as these teams will play each other on back-to-back nights, really for the first time in SEC play, a difference this year in scheduling because of COVID and the travel situation, there will be a chess match between these coaches. You know, do you hold some cards back on night one? Do you show them everything? Do you need to have something left for the second night that maybe they haven't seen? So strategy will be very interesting to see how different coaches handle this back-to-back situation. Ava Bell continuing to impress Courtney, and I know that Tennessee expected this out of her, but having struggled through injury last year, we just saw so little of her that you forgot about how dangerous that arm is. She has a great arm, how quick her arm is. She moves it really well. She has the ability to move the ball around. She's going to be a hard player to defend, and realize she's a player that other teams saw so little of last year. There's not a lot of film on her, and so until you really get in front of her as a blocker in real time, it's going to take a while to figure out that arm.
Here comes Teeler coming in hot.
Ajania Taylor again wide from the right side. Allie Stumler out wide left. They've yet to run a pipe, which is that middle back out of that rotation, but you have to think they've got it up their sleeve. Is that something they'll roll out tomorrow night?
It's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen and see how these teams evolve so quickly. And Tennessee was actually working on that last week. They did 2 scrimmages, one on Friday and one on Saturday, so they had that feel already of what this would be like to play the same opponent 2 days in a row.
And Coach Rackham did say that, you know, you felt like you lost a little intensity on the second night to see that same opponent for a second time. And so that's something that they talked through. They talked about every aspect of what this is going to be like. How about that set? Madison Lilly goes up and gets it, the body control to stay out of the net, and yet she still pushes it all the way out to the antenna.
This is Cameron Scheitzak on the serve. Perinar pushes it over. Allie Stumler coming out of the back row.
And there it is on cue, the pipe from Allie Stumler that time as she comes out of middle back. She hits that ball so high, and she's so great with her wrist action as she cuts that one deep into left back. She's dangerous here, but you like the ball control that you get off first contact from Scheitzak, which allows that play to progress.
And so Tennessee calls timeout as Kentucky just 2 points away from taking set number 2. This is kind of what's going on in the volleyball world, in case you're just joining us as the SEC is getting underway. The ACC, the Big 12, now the SEC and the Sun Belt are all in action this fall. The Pac-12 and the Big 10, we will see them in the spring portion of the season. That will start January 22nd. There is going to be an NCAA tournament, which is great news for all of us volleyball fans. It's going to be a smaller bracket, though, only 48 teams, and we'll see the national semifinals and final be played April 23rd through the 25th. Now, what we don't know is where that will take place. We also don't know how they're going to handle the NCAA tournament. Will it be regions? Will it be everybody at one site? Everything is on the table, but we have no final decision yet. We just know they're going to try to play. Well, tomorrow morning we will get you set for all of the college football games with SEC Nation, hosted by Laura Rutledge, Roman Harper, Tim Tebow, and Jordan Rogers. We'll still have live reports from stadiums, features, and of course all the game breakdowns. It'll just be done with social distancing in mind, and you, the fans, will still be part of the show. SEC Nation presented by Regions, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. As we mentioned earlier, Tennessee and Kentucky are also playing football tomorrow. That's a pretty big rivalry too, the border rivalry. So both teams using the checkerboard. I'm told Kentucky had it first.
Do you believe that, Courtney?
Well, as a Tennessee graduate, that swing is going to be out. We've got set point for Kentucky.
I like the choice by Tennessee going to the right side. I really think that they have the ability to score points over there, and it was a nice shot, just a little wide.
Perinar tries to push it over, but hey, your setter. Oh no, they're gonna get Madison Lilly in the net. So set point number 2 coming up for Kentucky.
Absolutely, Tennessee lives to see another point. Holding their own up there at the net. Madison Lilly's pretty good in those joust situations, I'll tell you. I wouldn't want to go up against her.
Anytime a setter is in that position, I feel like the setter always comes out on top.
Yeah, I think they have, they get the most practice at it, that's for sure. They play that type of ball a lot, and so they do become very good at that play.
Still set point for the Cats. Avery Skinner on the tip. And that's going to do it. Kentucky takes the second set. They are up 2-0 on Tennessee in their very first match of the season. Avery Skinner gets it done. She's got 10 kills right now and no attacking errors, hitting .588. Kentucky rocking and rolling in Lexington. They take the first 2 sets. In the AVCA Coaches Top 15. It's a little bit shorter this year with not all of the conferences playing, but that's pretty solid to have the SEC with 4 teams in the top 15.
Of course, the caveat there, as you mentioned, Courtney, that only teams who are playing can be ranked. And so, fewer teams to choose from, but SEC looking really strong there as you see Kentucky and Florida sitting at 3 and 4.
Opening weekend of SEC volleyball.
And you feel like Craig Skinner's got to like what he's seeing so far, Courtney. A good showing from his team, and I think, there's players that we thought we might see that we have not seen yet. And so this is a team with so much depth, so much competition in this gym, and as they take the court here, you'll notice that you see number 11 in white, Elise Getzinger, that freshman middle blocker out of Blue Mounds, Wisconsin, 6'4" on the court for them. So we're going to get a little bit more of a look at her. We've seen her briefly throughout this match. We've seen a whole lot of Reagan Rutherford, who's looked really nice swinging from the right side with that left hand. Of course, we've seen a whole lot of Avery Skinner, a senior now on this team after limited action a year ago. She has certainly hit her stride, and there's nothing you like more than to see a senior playing her best volleyball at the end of her career.
Yeah, she's the only player in this match in double figures right now, and an attacking error is going to give Kentucky the first point. Remember, if the Wildcats win this set, they sweep, they win the match.
Seems to be the magic rotation, Courtney, for Kentucky as they continue to start with Allie Stumler back there at the service line. She led them in aces per set a season ago, and she is doing a great job. It's not just the aces, though. It's the balls that Allie puts into play, how difficult she makes first contact, keeps teams out of system pretty regularly.
Lily Feltz taking a swing from the right pin. She'll get the first point for Tennessee.
And when in trouble, find Lily Feltz. Tennessee is really good at that, and she comes through time and time again. Somewhat of an undersized outside hitter, and yet she's just fearless.
I mean, when you're facing a team like Kentucky that has so many different weapons, how do you adjust to that if you're Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm not sure, especially night one, because you have no film. You know, they are absolutely learning on the fly. Tomorrow night, you know, you look for some adjustments, but tonight, I mean, it's just it's learning on the fly with a whole lot of players in new positions. And Coach Eve Rackham really said, has to be about our side of the net. You know, so we may not be able to stop them in every rotation, but we have to do the things we do, and we have to do them well. We can't make it too big on night one. Then we take what we learn in night one and we go make those small adjustments for that second match.
Wildcats out to a 4-1 lead here in set number 3. Danielle Mahaffey from the right side. Hayward sets it quickly in the middle to Bell. Avery Skinner. Kill number 12 for Skinner.
And I just really love the way Avery Skinner is playing within herself. She's not trying to do too much on every swing. She knows when to take the big rip, and she knows when to keep a ball in bounds, using the entire court as you see a really strong cross-court shot there.
So timeout is called. Look at Kentucky go. A win in this set, and they win their season opener against Tennessee. For Kentucky, that would be Avery Skinner. The senior is perfect on the night with 12 kills.
Absolutely. If you told me you're going to have 12 kills in the third set, I'd be thrilled. But when you pair that without a single error on 19 attempts, her .632 hitting efficiency is a big reason why, as a team right now, Kentucky is hitting .459. That's a massive number, Courtney.
Wow, just huge. And keep in mind, we haven't played volleyball in 10 months. This is a pretty good start after a long break.
Absolutely.
Courtney Lyle and Missy Whittemore with you. Kentucky needs to win this set, and they will win their season opener. As you see, Elise Getzinger in the middle, a big presence already as a freshman.
Coach Skinner starting to incorporate some of those young players into this offense.
It'll be a service error for Johnny Teeler. This is the first of 2 meetings between Tennessee and Kentucky. They will play again tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. As Getzinger trying to go off of 1 foot, point Tennessee.
We're getting our first looks at Getzinger here and how comfortable she is off 1, off 2. That time she had all sorts of angle, but a really nice block on the outside by Jasmine Brooks in that prior play as it was freshman on freshman there.
And Madison Lilly just goes right back to her, and she looked a lot more in sync that second time.
That's something I really like about Madison Lilly. I feel like she does it on the regular, is when a young player in particular perhaps makes a mistake. I just like that she has that confidence to go right back at him.
That's in. It's an ace for Madison Lilly.
And this is why Kentucky is such a hard team to play. From top to bottom, they have a solid serving roster. It doesn't drop off. Every player who goes back puts a hard ball in play. They paint that back line so well.
Rocky Perinar reaches up and dusts it with her fingertips.
And I'm so impressed with the poise of Rocky Perinar in her first collegiate match as a middle blocker. She's attacked well. How about the open hand tip there, finding ways to score points? We've seen her touch balls with her block. Really nice evening for her.
Comes from a volleyball family. We got to see her sister Ginger Perinar play at Alabama. That was always fun when the Perinars went head to head.
We've seen her go behind. We've seen her in front. So we're getting a great look at Elise Getzinger. They're 11 in white, the 6'4" freshman, part of that #1 recruiting class for the first time ever for the University of Kentucky.
Keeble going back behind her to Jasmine Brooks, and it will be a kill for the freshman. What is it about Kentucky and always having this middle attack that can just come after you? I feel like that's just a staple.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going back to Kaz Brown, right? They've always had that's a huge middle presence. And I think that's why they're so good, is because they're able to establish that middle, open things up on the antenna, and Madison Lilly has that ability to set an offense with great pace. She understands the flow of the game. She knows when she can put a little bit more on it. and when she needs to hang the ball, and she knows when to find her middle. How about that one? She just distributes the ball so incredibly well. Remember, this is a returning All-American for a reason. Here you see the find in transition. Look how she goes up and saves what could be an overpass and does it with ease, puts the ball exactly where it needs to be for Getzinger.
Wow, Getzinger already has 6 kills. I felt like that was just the Getzinger show for a second there.
Great job by Madison Lilly of continuing to feed the hot hand and get that freshman involved and grow her confidence.
There's another freshman taking a swing for Kentucky, Maddie Skinner. She's the younger sister of Avery Skinner, number 4 for the Cats, who's been tearing it up tonight.
And so she's come into the match, checked in for Allie Stumler, and we see the Skinner sisters on the court together as they will pass side by side here.
Big reach up and kill for Reagan Rutherford.
And Courtney, it feels like we're seeing the present and the future of Kentucky volleyball all at once as we are seeing this youth get into the mix here in set 3.
Save, and it's going to be a free ball back thanks to Maddie Skinner. In the middle, they go to Ava Bell. And it goes out. Maddie Skinner tooling the block.
Yeah, there were Kentucky players there in position to make a play on that ball, and you heard the communication coming out of the backcourt, calling it out. So they make that decision to let it go, and it's the right decision. That's why that communication out of the backcourt is just so important. You have to know when to make a play on the ball, and sometimes the best play is no play at all, like that one right there.
So I think Eve Rackham has pulled that green challenge card.
I'm not surprised. This one is really close, Courtney, really close.
This is the second challenge that Tennessee has used tonight. So, yeah, I thought it might have grabbed some of that line.
Yeah, I certainly think there's a chance of that, and hopefully there'll be some good angles for them to take a look at this one as we may get another look here. You see the swing off the block, so Tennessee touches it, and then off of that Tennessee block, the question is, does it land inbounds or out of bounds? And realize if it touches any portion of the white line, then the ball is inbounds. It doesn't have to be completely within the white line. Just touching the white line would be considered inbounds. So that's why this one is so incredibly close.
And they're going to leave the point with Kentucky.
A quick decision.
That one drops in. Kentucky benefits.
And that will send Rutherford back to the service line again. Couple freshmen on the floor for Kentucky right now, along with Ajani Teeler there, 15 in white. If you're just joining us, that is Ajani Teeler, who played at the right pin last year, some for Kentucky a season ago, playing in the middle.
Lily Feltz has to come into the court to get it, and the Kentucky block followed.
Yeah, that's a really nice block set up by Madison Lilly, the setter there in right front. She's 5'11". And then you've got Ajani Teeler listed at 5'10", and they put up a really solid block right there.
Service error by Rutherford.
Freshman gets an opportunity to go to the service line, though. Great experience for these young players here in match 1, and you get the feeling that they're going to be a big part of this team this year.
Natalie Hayward, one of the captains for Tennessee, serving.
Just long, and it can be difficult to come in off the bench. You know, to be a 6'2" setter, it can be difficult for some players. And Coach Eve Rackham said that's something that they liked about Hayward, is that she came to them from a 6'2" system, and so she was used to being in and out of the match. Some setters who haven't ever played in a 6'2" really struggle finding their rhythm in a match if they're in and out. So she was glad that they had someone who had been in that situation before, and you see her deliver a really nice ball there. And when the ball control has been there for Tennessee, Ava Bell has been there for sure. She's been very consistent.
I've been really impressed with both of Tennessee's middles.
Absolutely. See Ava Bell come get it that time. She comes to the setter. So great spacing between those two as they find one another out on the court, and they're able to split the block.
Brooks readjusts to take the attack for Tennessee. Avery Skinner. Hayward behind her to Mahaffey. Skinner on a third swing. There's not many times she's going to take 3 swings and not get a kill.
Absolutely, Courtney. I was just going to say I really liked her patience over the course of that long rally, and that's something you see out of Kentucky teams. They trust their defense. Kentucky teams are so often built on defense, and it gives them that luxury of trusting the swing. Live to see another swing. They put a ball in play, They know their defense is going to be there for them until finally they get the right look, and then they take the big swing.
There's a big swing from Mahaffey. And Brooks looking for that line shot just a little bit wide.
I really like the length of Brooks. I love this arm swing, the way she goes up and gets the ball. And I'll tell you what, I feel like she is going to be an elite player in this league. You see, they're trying to use the line, but she just misses.
Bell just has to push it through. Lily dumps it. Mahaffey finally does get a piece of that Kentucky block. And remember, Danielle Mahaffey, even though she's Tennessee's returning kills leader, she's been dealing with an injury, so really trying to work back this week to get ready for opening night.
And so many of these teams, Courtney, have talked about the fact that because of quarantine and contact, more because of contact tracing rather than positive cases of the virus, that there have been weeks where they have not had their lineup in the gym. So I mean, realize some of these teams have had a long time to train, but maybe not always with the people that they're going to be playing next to in a match situation. So there's still a lot of growth to take place. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of growth for Elise Getzinger, and she is going to be a good one. Another kill for the freshman.
Just a fiery middle. Look at the numbers from their freshmen. Elise Getzinger has 7. Reagan Rutherford has 6 kills. Mahaffey with a big approach. And uses Kentucky's block.
Absolutely, Mahaffey battling at the net up there as she just goes up and blasts one off the hands of Avery Skinner, who's been near perfect tonight in most everything she's done. Mahaffey gets the best of her there.
Lily back behind her to Rutherford. Again, and Rutherford using the hands of Tennessee.
And Courtney, I love the fact that, you know, we can hear the communication, and I think even the viewer can hear the communication of the Kentucky backcourt as you hear Gabby Curry calling people off that ball. And that's one of the big expectations for this Kentucky team. And Coach Skinner talked about his captains, Gabby Curry being one of them. And one of the things he said is that they're demanding, they expect people to communicate. That's a big piece of their success. They realize that.
Tennessee will bring in Madison Bryant to serve. Playing to 25 here. If Kentucky gets there first, they win the match. They have pretty much controlled this match from the opening serve.
Tennessee has gone with a youngster as they have Emily Merrick, the redshirt freshman, on the floor. They're number 13 in orange. And as Tennessee was preparing to serve, Kentucky inserted Raya Walker, wearing number 9 in white. So all sorts of young players on the floor right now as we see the future of SEC volleyball right before our eyes. Talking about the future of SEC volleyball, Rutherford, who got the start in this match, has been solid from the get-go.
Yeah, the pressure doesn't faze her, apparently. Starts her first career match in SEC play. And there goes Emily Merrick for Tennessee. They redshirted her last season, but Eve Rackham told us that was planned because they really wanted to kind of work on her fundamentals. She's really been a soccer player up until her sophomore year of high school.
They said she worked so hard last year to put herself in a position to be ready to play, and it's certainly paying off as she's been inserted here and come up with a couple big points.
Maddie Skinner on the kill.
Maddie Skinner at 6'2" gives them so much length, and coach said she's still just an untapped talent, that she has really huge potential.
So Tennessee calls timeout as Kentucky up 21-13 in the third set. A win here for the Wildcats gets them the match. This is just the first of our opening weekend for SEC volleyball. It's so exciting. We have so many matches on our air. And remember, you can see Tennessee and Kentucky battle again on the ESPN app on SEC Network Plus tomorrow at 7 Eastern. But Sunday, we've got a triple header for you. And Missy, you'll be on the call for that South Carolina-Georgia match.
I certainly will be. Those are 2 tournament teams from a season ago, so I'm pretty excited to see them go at it. They've had some epic battles over the past couple of years. South Carolina will have Michaela Robinson back in the middle. I expect big things from her. And, of course, Georgia had Casey Evans, the freshman of the year in the league just last season. So that should be a good one.
Yeah, I've got Arkansas, Mississippi State. I'll be on the call for that one on Sunday. Haley Durgel is coming back after redshirting with an injury last year for Arkansas. I know Jason Watson is really excited to see her. So make sure you join us on Sunday for that triple header. Well, tomorrow we will have a college football doubleheader for you right here on the SEC Network. The border battle between Kentucky and Tennessee kicks things off at noon Eastern. Then it's Ole Miss squaring off against Arkansas and Fayetteville. Both games also streaming live on the ESPN app. The Kentucky Wildcats getting a lot of help from their freshman class tonight. They are just 4 points away from a season-opening sweep of Tennessee.
I tell you, as a head coach, you really hope that your upperclassmen come in and provide that calming force that would allow you to, over the course of a match, insert some of these younger players and allow them to feel comfortable. And what a great job we've seen from Madison Lilly and Gabby Curry, preseason selections. And they have really been the stabilizers on the court, the 2 that never leave the floor for Kentucky, that provide that stability that's allowed them to make these subs, because this has been a lot of moving pieces for Kentucky, and they really haven't missed a step.
We'll double check the server there. It is Reagan Rutherford. Wow, and Lilly sets Rutherford on the back row in the back right corner.
Yeah, that's going to be a lethal attack of the future. If they can leave that lefty in the back court and have that attack coming at you out of the back row. Wow.
Craig Skinner told us he was looking for some more consistency out of Reagan Rutherford. She's been pretty consistent tonight, hitting .368. Here comes Teeler. Keeble to Feltz. Feltz again, and this time gets a really nice angle.
Feltz is such a battler, isn't she? I mean, she just keeps coming at you. Have to like the way she plays at 5'11". She has to use that every bit of that approach. Works so hard in transition to use a big approach, big jump, finds a way to beat that block. Perfect pass by Curry.
Madison Skinner dug up there by Bryant. Maddie Skinner again. It's going to be a free ball for UK. Wow, some scrappy play as Teeler got tangled up there with Lauren Tharp, and they still get a kill.
A collision in right front is Johnny Teeler and Lauren Tharp, and literally that left Maddie Skinner as the only option there for several swings in a row. She does a great job because a couple of the balls were too tight, and she just makes a smart decision. She tips when she needs to tip. Right here you see the tip over the block, and it actually falls for a kill.
Just a taste of what's to come from Maddie Skinner, the Skinner sisters at Kentucky. Good look for Ava Bell.
And if there's one area of concern for Kentucky as they go to the film room tonight, how do they defend Ava Bell tomorrow? Because they really have not had an answer for 20 in orange there at the middle.
Yeah, Ava Bell is leading Tennessee right now with 8 kills, hitting .353 out of the middle. What a cut from Teeler.
That's a really nice look. It's a quick set behind, but it's tight behind the setter. So as Johnny Teeler comes and gets it, and we continue to see her behind, but off 2 feet. So just a unique way for Craig Skinner to use his talent right now.
Match point for Kentucky. Brooks on the swing, and it's wide, and Kentucky is going to sweep in their season opener.
Tell you what, we saw a lot of looks for Kentucky, but we saw a lot of the same thing, and that was smart swings out of the front court from a whole lot of different people at the end of the night. As a team, Kentucky in night 1 hits .451.
A monster number, and just think about how many freshmen we saw in action too for Kentucky, and they still hit a huge number. What a great sign for Craig Skinner's crew to come out and get the sweep in dominating fashion in their first match of the season.
Absolutely right, Courtney. Not only did they have